Have you ever wondered what Resident Evil would be like with dinosaurs instead of zombies? Well, guess what? Capcom did exactly that in 1999 when they released Dino Crisis, or some might just call it Resident Evil but with dinosaurs. Now, I know some of you are probably thinking, 1999? That's over 25 years ago. And you're right, except Dino Crisis still manages to hold up after all this time. So in this video, we're going to be going over the 9 reasons you should play Dino Crisis in 2025 and beyond. First up, we have the obvious, and that's the dinosaurs. If you're a fan of Jurassic Park, then you know how scary dinosaurs can be. The dinosaurs in this game are terrifying, as they should be. And that's because unlike Resident Evil, they're not mindless zombies. They're clever creatures that are hunting you throughout the game. At least that's what it feels like when you're playing it.
Clever girl.
There are a total of 5 dinosaurs plus 1 variant. I'm only going to give you 2 without spoiling the rest, and those 2 are the Velociraptor and the Tyrannosaurus Rex. Now, 5 dinosaurs don't seem like a lot on paper, but there are plenty when you're going through the game hoping not to encounter any of them, especially since the game is not focused on combat and more on the survival horror genre. Now, on to reason number 2, the horror factor. Dino Crisis is surprisingly scary, and between you and me, I was even too scared to play it as a kid, which is why I only managed to finish it when I played it on my PS5 recently, after it came out on the PlayStation Store last year. From the ominous sound design to the tense encounters with dinosaurs, you're going to be stressed. But that's just part of the horror experience. On top of that, the game has minimal background music, so you're going through the game with nothing but the sound of your footsteps most of the time. This adds another level of anxiety, especially when you hear a loud creepy noise followed by a dino attack that comes out of nowhere. The sound design has made me jump a few times, especially with how unpredictable the dinosaur encounters are. This makes the save rooms feel that much more valuable because it's the only time you know you're safe from any dinosaurs. The game does a great job maintaining that level of horror and tension throughout the entire experience. If you weren't scared of dinosaurs before, this game will change your mind. Next, we have reason number 3. Puzzles. A lot of games these days like to hold your hand when it comes to solving puzzles, and if you think Dino Crisis is the same, you have no idea how wrong you are, because this game will let you suffer until you either figure it out or look up a walkthrough on YouTube. I may or may not have had to look up a few things myself. The puzzles in this game are not inherently difficult, rather they just don't spoon-feed you the answer. What I mean by that is, say you have to figure out a code. Well, you actually have to find a note with the code in it first. Now, some puzzles are a little more complicated, like figuring out a pattern to decipher a code, which again, you're only going to be shown how to do that through specific notes you find in the game. That being said, there are a lot of optional puzzles that you don't really need to solve unless you want the rewards, which are usually upgrades to your gun. So if you like challenging your mind when gaming, you definitely enjoy the puzzles in this game. Reason number 4 surprised me, and that is the replayability. I didn't think a game that came out 26 years ago would give you a choice of multiple story paths that not only changed the way you played sections of the game, but it also altered the ending. That's right, the game has 3 different endings, and the one you get depends on the choices you make. Now, don't get me wrong, there's nothing complex here like Telltale's The Walking Dead or Until Dawn, but it's still cool because it gives you a reason to replay the game. On top of that, while it doesn't quite have a traditional New Game Plus mode, beating the game unlocks a new difficulty, and beating it a third time unlocks an even harder difficulty. The game achieves this through variants, aka tougher dinosaurs that are basically bullet sponges. A nice little bonus is you do unlock new costumes for Regina, and you could unlock a grenade launcher with unlimited ammo for seeing all 3 endings. You can also unlock another game mode called Operation Wipeout if you beat the game in under 4 hours. This mode is like a minigame where you have limited ammo and have to eliminate a specified number of dinosaurs within the time limit. Now on to probably the most important reason, gameplay. The gameplay is almost identical to the classic Resident Evil games like Resident Evil 1 and 2, except you have smarter enemies. If you haven't played them, the game follows the third-person formula with fixed camera angles that change from one area to another, and the gunplay is as simple as aim in that direction and shoot. My only gripe is I wish the movement wasn't as clunky, but otherwise everything else still holds up. I mean, just look at some of the newer indie games like Crow Country and Signalis. They both follow the classic Resident Evil formula, except they have better movement. Another important gameplay feature is the inventory system. Like any good survival game, you have limited space in your inventory, and honestly, it will fill up almost instantly. Luckily, you can move items around using things called emergency boxes, but you still need to find plugs to even use them. What sucks is that you can't really drop any items, so you have to either use them or store them if you want to pick up something else. This forces you to become more intentional with how you play and how you manage your items. Now on to reason number 6, mystery and lore. Without getting into any spoilers, Dino Crisis does a great job at making you wonder what the heck happened in this facility. You're playing as a member of the Special Operation Raid Team, or SORT for short, so your team is just as confused as you are when they discover the seemingly abandoned facility. I love it when games do this, because you're discovering what happened along with your character for the first time. The game knows how to build suspense, from the opening minutes of finding a severed body, to the stress-inducing hallways that may or may not lead to a jump scare. On top of that, the game also adds to the mystery while building lore at the same time through memos or notes that you find throughout the game that tell you exactly what transpired in the story. The game slowly goes from a simple operation where you're tasked with rescuing a doctor to trying to figure out what the heck happened and how are there dinosaurs in a research facility. Throughout the game, you'll have so many questions, but by the end of it all of them will be answered.
Then I'll take care of the shutters that are blocking the way.
Now on to reason number 7, and this is one of my top reasons, game length. Most games these days last anywhere from 10 hours to over 40 hours, and trust me, I get it. In a world where gaming has become more of a luxury due to the increasing prices of games and consoles, it makes sense to want a game to last at least over 10 hours to justify the money spent on it. But sometimes, you just want a short and to the point game where you can either finish in a day or over a weekend. Especially if you're someone who's very busy like myself and can't commit over 10 hours just to see a game through to the end. Dino Crisis is only 4 to 6 hours long, and maybe 8 hours if you want to see everything the game has to offer in a single playthrough. In fact, if you're on PlayStation, the game is only $9.99 USD or $14.99 Canadian, or if you're part of the premium PlayStation subscription, it's included in the Classics game catalog. So in my opinion, the price is not just justified, but it's 100% worth it for the experience. Reason number 8, we have the game's unique setting. For a dinosaur game, you would think the game would be taking place sometime in the past in a jungle or a forest of some sort, except this game takes place in the future and almost entirely inside a research facility. And honestly, this works perfectly, especially for a horror survival game. This is because you not only get the horror factor from being indoors while knowing there are dinosaurs hunting you inside this giant building, but it also allows you to be faced with some pretty good puzzles to solve since you're inside a very high-tech facility. This also works surprisingly well for the story, because if dinosaurs were to be brought back to life, it would be at a super high-tech research facility. It is definitely one of the more unique settings for any dinosaur game out there right now. Lastly, we have reason number 9, and that is Dino Crisis is a certified must-play survival horror classic. While the game did not necessarily revolutionize the survival horror genre like Resident Evil did, more specifically Resident Evil 4 and Leon Kennedy did, it still managed to combine dinosaurs and survival horror perfectly. Something that not even the sequel, Dino Crisis 2, was able to accomplish, because the sequel decided to lean a lot more heavily towards action and fully abandoning the horror factor in the process. This makes Dino Crisis truly a one-of-a-kind game that any survival horror fan must experience for themselves. And there we have it, the 9 reasons you should be playing Dino Crisis right now in 2025 or beyond. To date, Dino Crisis is still one of the best horror-focused dinosaur games to exist. I truly hope we get a remake one day, except I'm not holding my breath considering everyone at Capcom seemed to have been hit with the mind-erasing pen from Men in Black when it comes to anything related to Dino Crisis. But seriously, Capcom, you gave us Exoprimal with Regina's doppelganger instead of a well-deserved Dino Crisis remake. The dinosaur horror combination still feels like such an untapped genre that somehow no one except Capcom was able to tap into with Dino Crisis. So be sure to check it out and let me know what you think in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching, and if you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and subscribe if you want to see more. Take care.